In other news, the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the introduction of a new financial instrument known as the 100 for 100 PPP, a policy on production and productivity initiative to boost local production and productivity in various sectors of the economy. This disclosure was made by the Central Bank Chief, Godwin Emefiele, at the launch of the Central Bank digital currency known as the e-Naira at the State House, Abuja. The initiative by the Apex Bank is expected to provide support for selected private sector companies in the country as part of the steps to reverse the country's over-reliance on imports. Let me talk to Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu, also here on the show, live here in our Lagos studios. Chika, it's good to have you.
Morning, how are you today?
Great. It looks like the 100 for 100 program is a new window throwing everything we can to make sure that we reduce imports and save some effects.
I mean, these days, it's like 1 week, one intervention.
One initiative.
From the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Development Finance Department.
Yes.
Do recall that I think last week, the one we had was the TIEs,
yes.
Which is the tertiary institutions.
Yes, for polytechnics and
entrepreneur scheme, for undergraduates and graduates, on how to arm them and prepare them, for the world. So now we have this,
private sector,
100 for 100 PPP, and basically, I think it's, Central Bank is trying to turn on the screws to make sure that things happen in our country. You recall that, on this our show, when about 2 or 3 weeks ago, the issue that was on the burner had to do with devaluation
yes.
of the currency.
Yes.
And everybody, came out to provide their solutions. And then we said, where is the dollar? Are we going to print the dollar? The only dollar we get in this country is just from, our oil at 1.2 million barrels a day at $80 per barrel. That's all that we'll get. And
maybe a few remittances.
Yeah, the remittances were suffering too because of the issues, COVID issues.
And exports is not looking seriously good.
And the productive base of the economy was very weak. And we said we literally lost, everything that we had. At the time in this country, remember, we used to be #1 in palm oil production. At the time in this country also, I remember early part of my banking career, textile was the major thing. All that is gone now. Cocoa, the same thing. So this is an initiative by the Central Bank of Nigeria, again, trying to expand the productive base of the economy, and then, trying to produce goods that are competitive for export and to expand our foreign exchange earnings.
And keep the FX in the vault.
In the vault, yeah, expand the, exchange earnings. And so, when I saw this initiative, I was saying, the Central Bank has a litany of intervention already. Why not if there are any companies remaining, why can't they, tag in to any of those initiatives? But I guess this is a little more focused. They pick 100 companies, with the criteria they're going to advertise very soon, and then, focus on them for the 100 days, and then
and roll it over for another 100 days.
Another day for another set of companies. I guess it's just all towards making sure that things happen for us, in the country, and provide them the finance they require. But
the question again is it all about funding? It talks about infrastructure. Folks are beginning to ask questions that if you fund this private sector, what happens to the key infrastructure, some of the extant structural issues?
The limiting factors are still there, so you're throwing finance at them. Finance not only challenge they have issues of, remember, the cost of, if you analyze the cost of any business in Nigeria, about 40% of it has to do with power, energy. And even in our homes, private homes, the issue, energy, you provide your own water, you literally do everything. And the thing just, chops into your earnings. So the same thing with, these businesses. So the issue of power and infrastructure will continue to be a major challenge. The other day I was in the east, and I moved between Port Harcourt and Aba, and a journey of 45 minutes before, after 3-4 hours, we're still on the road, looking for the road. On the road looking for the road.
Yeah.
Gullies and you have taken over the whole place. And so you find that's a problem around the country. So I hope that the Central Bank of Nigeria will put that in the basket what they're
but
crafting.
that takes us to what the Minister of Works, Fashola, talked about, the PPP projects being stalled. Lagos Ibadan Highway, one of the notorious highway in Nigeria, and one of the most important, by the way.
Yes, it's not about
the second Nigeria project.
The problem has been a lot of these projects have not been bankable. You know,
is it that they're not bankable? Well, then you're a banker, you should know.
Yeah, they're not able to get funding for them.
Yeah.
So it means they're not being bankable. You know, the banks have not found them attractive for whatever reasons. You know, I think one of the initial thing has been, you know, like for the Lagos Ibadan Expressway, it was going to be tolled, and
it was initially concession.
Yeah, but the concession, you take your money and do the project. How do you recover your money? You recover your money by doing tolls.
Yes.
You know, and then not the other option of providing the financing. And the federal government, who does budget every year, will be paying you off from those budgets.
Yes.
So those are two models. You know, but somehow they couldn't get all the funding required. The banking system here couldn't support that, either on the structure of the borrower or the structure of the contracts
or the agreement,
or because of the fact that Nigeria is not a respecter of contracts. The sanctity of contracts has been a problem. I do recall that even in the state levels, whenever you have a change of government, the first thing that the new governor does is say, "Oh, former contracts cancelled. Oh, former this bank is closed. Oh, the banks don't accept anything." So you find that anybody who's doing anything with any state government, for example, does it in the tenure of the governor is 4 years. The transaction they do must be 3 years, so that it can finish before a year before the governor ends.
This is not really good news.
It's not good news because
that we can't pull investment capital.
We have been preaching that the government, you know, because government operates in 12-month cycles, you know, that's why these roads have suffered, because they have to, you know, every year budget a particular amount of a road that requires about 200 billion, for example. Every year they may be throwing 20 billion in budget for that. That will tell you how long it takes to finish the road.
10 years or so.
If
we put it in schedule,
again,
non-stop.
But you know, me and you know in this Nigeria that a lot of times what is appropriated is not what is disbursed. So even if they put 20 billion in the budget, what they may get is 10 billion. And that's why, so we said that they should be able to, you know, aggregate capital, private capital in the country. And as the minister has raised the issues, we need to go to the root cause and identify why these things are happening.
So the minister is asking for probes of the concession projects.
You know, I've had cause to say in this program that it works two ways. One is that some of the concessionaires have not kept to the terms of the concessions. And then again, the government also has not kept to the terms of the agreement. And then people start looking at, oh, come on, you know, the ones who have done before, look, let's see how government beat them up. So we don't want to come and, join and, you know, why would the government not advance the process after we're going to borrow money? You know, and so those are the issues. Sanctity of contract, you know, reversal of government policies, you know, after people have borrowed. And so the government has to look into that because we cannot progress with just, you know, government funding. Look at our capital budget, how much is it? You know, we budget for 3 trillion in capital budget and then disburse about half of that.
Yes.
What we do is very, very paltry.
Yes.
And then with the massive infrastructure gaps we have in the country, you know, is a problem.
So we'll be back at foreign borrowings, in the manner of speaking. Here is the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, yesterday speaking that there is no provision for subsidy after June 2022. That was at the Economic Summit. Is this the end of subsidy or we just kick the can and down the road again?
Let's push it forward. Let's just keep pushing it forward, you know. I mean, do you ever have trust government? I mean, the same minister actually told us that the Rosanya report was going to form the fulcrum for 2020, I think 2020 budget or 2021 budget. You know what I mean? We have found out that in the 2022 budget, those MDAs that Rosanya has thought about scrapping or merging
since 2011.
Well, yeah, we have budgeted about 900 billion.
Almost $1 trillion.
$1 trillion for them. And the same minister talked about 2 years ago that the government president had given approval for that report to be implemented. Where are we today? So now, it's not the first time we're hearing about this issue of subsidy with a timeline.
But here the World Bank says we should kick it out.
But you
Or
and
we're
me
just
know,
kicking it down the road.
you and me know that's the problem, and a lot of times the politics conflicts with economics. And this is one of those.
And politics, a number of times, often wins. So
Yeah.
here we are, a year to the electioneering period. We don't have a year, by the way.
Yeah, I think
We have 3 months.
What's entered 2022 now? You remember the handover is May 2023. Elections are usually, I think, January 2023.
And the rumblings had already started.
I know when I started. So the issue now is
So
I don't think
June 2032
I don't
will
think
be, will
that,
be a good time, quote unquote, for subsidy removal?
nah. How can?
It's not bankable.
Nah, just before the election, so that the current president will be like the person who made his party lose an election. No, it won't happen. It won't happen.
It's not likely going to happen.
It won't happen.
So yeah, we're going to kick it down till after 2023.
Yeah, I mean, if I wanted to do it, would have done it in the first months of his second term. Still far away from election, so that we'll forget that he did us something bad, or in quote.
Or he did us something good, but painful. But painful.
Some people will
but
say,
painful.
Well, painful.
But painful. In the short term.
I mean, I think it was Tony Blair that wanted to buy the presidential jet for the United Kingdom. And it was when, I think, just before he left, when he didn't have to contest election again, and that's when he did it.
That's a good time.
Yeah, it's a good time. So, assuming that the president's party wins, and that in that period, when it's like a lame dog, you can just
let go.
Let it go.
Do you think we're at a point where we need to hear from President Buhari directly on the issue of full subsidies, whether it has come to an end or when there's a terminal date for it, in the manner of speaking?
Well, we already know where the president stands on this because he didn't want to. He actually made allusion to it that it destabilizes the society, which the president doesn't like. And he made reference to what he did to his predecessors in government. And then that issue is at the back of his mind, also. I don't think it's as simple as that. And his brand of economy also suggests that he's a man of the people. And he wouldn't like to remove anything that hurts the people.
Don't rock the boat.
Yeah. But the bigger picture is we're bleeding. I said it about 3 years ago, that we are a broke country and we cannot continue to carry this subsidy.
3 trillion naira?
Yeah, a year.
Okay.
You know.
Let's leave it there for today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.